What's going on, everybody? This is Tropical Fish Guy, and today we're going to talk about setting up a new aquarium. Yeah, what we need to do today is we're going to start from scratch and set up a new aquarium. The first thing we're going to talk about is putting in the under gravel filter. So my suggestion for filtration is at least have 2 filters, right? In this case, for this is a 10-gallon aquarium, we're going to have an under gravel filter, and we're going to have a power filter, also known as over-the-top filter or hangover filter, whatever, but it's a power filter, right? So the reason why we need 2 filters is because when, for example, we clean the power filter, we're going to strip the bacteria off off some of the media. So we want the secondary filtration method to keep the beneficial bacteria. And we'll go over the bacteria cycle in a different video. But the thing to remember is, and if you only have one power filter or one under gravel filter, that's okay, as long as you have several different filter media, the cartridges inside the power filter, or you don't do a complete 100% water change if you only have an under gravel filter. So basically what we're trying to do is keep the bacteria from getting overwhelmed by the ammonia that gets created by the fish. Okay, so step number 1, introduce the under gravel filter. And you could do just the under gravel filter, or you could do just the power filter, but you know, it'll save you in the long run. The more filtration you have, the more biological filtration you have, the better. So I mean, it can't hurt to overkill it. So the under gravel filter that I will be using is the pin plaques. I like the pin plaques because it has the uplift tube connector holes on each side of the filter plates, which means that you would be able to connect lift tubes either on the outside or the inside of the filter plates, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So let's go ahead and open this up. And there's lots of different types of filters. There's the under gravel filters, there's power filters, there's the inside filters, there's the canister filters, there's the wet dry filters. But depending on, I mean, it's a 10-gallon tank, under gravel filters are good, stable, standard filtration systems for anywhere, maybe up to 5,500 gallon, whatever. But for a small tank like this, a under gravel filter will work just fine. But also, I'm gonna put a power filter on there because I like to, like I said before, and you say you just said that, but I'm gonna say it again. It's good to have a lot of biological filtration because you don't want to kill your fish, right? I mean, that's the whole key. So inside this package here, we have the filter plates that's taped together. Undo the tape. Boom. Right there. We've got the lift tubes. Looks like for this one we have 2 of those, so those are going to go on the outside. We've got the lift tube containers, lift tube connectors, not container. I don't know why I say container, but lift tube connectors. These go on the plates. 2 of those. We've got 2 carbon filters that connect. I'll show you that connect into the lift tubes. We've got the lift tube outlet connectors. Got 2 of those. We've got 2 of the lift tube rigid tubing that goes inside the lift tubes. I'll show you that. We've got the lift tube connectors, which I don't use, but we can, and we've got the air stones, 2 air stones that go inside the lift tubes. So let's do this. So the locking mechanisms for the lift tubes, the lift tube connectors, go on the inside of the tank but face towards the back. So we'll sit like this in the back. Okay. Before we insert that, we're going to go ahead and use these connectors, and they lock into place. And you're going to see that there's 2, right? And you can use up to 4 lift tubes on this particular filter because there's 2 on each plate. But right now we're just going to use 1 on each plate. So you insert in the hole and you twist to lock, and you will hear, so insert and you twist to lock. Hear that? Lock. So this one is going to sit like that. This one is going to sit like this on the inside. So we're going to do the same thing. You'll see where it says lock. So here's the little tabs that you stick lift tube connectors on there. So you'll see that the lift tube connector has little tabs there. Stick that in there. Push that down real good. And then you twist. And it's locked in place. Alright. So next, you've got these, and see this little round connection? You put the lift tube in there so it connects. Right, and it goes up and down depending on the height of your aquarium, so once you get it in there, you'll be able to see how high it is. But for now, just stick it in there. Do the same thing with the other plate. Alright, just stick it in the hole. That's all you got to do. Stick it in the hole. So it looks something like this, right? And once it goes inside the tank, inside the aquarium, it'll lift up. And you can cover these up with plants or something once you get the tank cycled through. And we'll talk about the cycle later in a different video. So unpackage the air stones. The air stones go on the bottom. The air stones have this little rubber airline tubing is what that's called. So it's got the little tubing that the rigid tubing goes inside. So, and you can't just, it's hard, you think it doesn't fit, but you've got to kind of manually pry that so it makes a good connection. Let's see if I can do this. Okay, so this right here, and it's a little bit hard, so you might not think it works, but you want to manually pry. Let's see how that finally fits in. We want to do that all the way down, all the way down, all the way down, as far down as you can get it. As far down as you can get it, maybe 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 an inch, as long as you know that it won't come off. So you tug on it a little bit, it won't come off, and at the same time you want to make sure that the airline tubing is firmly secure to the air stone as well. So check it out. you've got the connector. You want to put the rigid tubing that you just connected this to through the top, right? Through the top. So you've got this right here. You want to gently put that inside the lift tube that you just created, right there. Boom. Right? And so you want the air stone to sit up a little bit, maybe an inch or so up, to where when it turns on, it sucks up the water through the plates. It sucks it up. The water flows through the plates underneath, comes out here because the airflow is blowing, and you'll see that, and it comes out the top. So we're going to firmly secure this top by pressing down, just like that. Lift that up a little bit. And you don't even need the that rubber tubing, that rubber stopper there. If you wanted to, you can put it on the top, right there. You can use it so that when the rigid tubing goes down, what that does is it holds the air stone, like I said, about an inch above. So that's where you put that rubber stopper there. Okay, see that? And then we're going to set up the other one same way. So we got your air stone right there, air stone. We've got the rigid tubing, and we are going to do the same thing. We're going to pry the rigid tubing into this, because you know, if you look at it, I don't know if you can tell, but it looks like it might be the same size, and you're like, hey man, that doesn't fit, but it will fit because this flexible tubing obviously is flexible, and you need a tight seal. So kind of wiggle it and wiggle it and wiggle it until finally you get a connection, and you push it down. There you go. That's about good right there. You know, you can see a little gap there. That's okay, as long as the rigid tubing is connected to the air stone by the flexible tubing. Bam. Okay, and you can take this off, leave it on, whatever. So you got the flexible, goes through the top of the output. Right, boom, like that. You want to put the rubber stopper somewhere up there. You got your plate on the other side, put that in there. Just like that. You see that's a little high, so that's good right there. So you adjust, if you want a little bit higher, you want this air stone as low as you can with just about an inch or half inch. You don't want it touching the very bottom. You could, it doesn't really hurt nothing, but air can get underneath but it'll dissipate, so it's not really a big deal. But ideally, I'm telling you exactly what it needs to be. So now you got that. You've got both sides of that there. So you know what? This did not come with airline tubing, which is kind of weird. I think I would have thought it did, but it doesn't. So you're going to have to buy it. Luckily I have some, but you'd have to buy a thing of airline tubing. This flexible tubing. I think this is 3/8 inch, or it says 6.35. No, that's the 25 feet of it. But there's the catalog. Now I'll put a link in the description, or I'll put a link on the website. Through this whole thing, I'll put all of the equipment necessary. You can look that up at tropicalfishguide.com/new aquarium setup, and I'll put a link in the description, and I'll put a link right up. I won't put a link, but I'll put the website right there. So you want to take the tubing, and you can take your handy dandy scissors. And you want to connect. You've got an air pump. Make sure you get the air pump. I just so happen to have this Whisper 10 air pump. It's really quiet. It sits. It's small enough. It can sit on the carpet. It can sit on wood. It's got rubber feet, rubber shoes, if you will, so that it doesn't make too much noise. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect this air pump to this airline tubing to those lift tubes from the connector. Okay. And the way to connect it, you're going to, and if you notice, you'll see that this only has one outlet, right? This only has one outlet, so we're going to need a split valve for that. And I just so happened to went to the pet store today, in the local fish store. It's only like $1 or something, but you get your split valve or a T-valve that looks something like this, and I'll put that on the site as well, so you'll see what it does. So it just connects to the airline tubing. Oh man, I just dropped it on the carpet. Now I can't find it. There it is. It connects to the one. You want to squeeze that in there to the airline tubing right there, like that. And then you have two outlets, 1, 2, that goes to each of these lift tubes. Okay. So from the air pump, you want enough room. Let's see, let's cut it. So this desk here, or this stand here, is right here, and this pump is going to sit a little bit further down. So I'm going to say about, depending on your arrangement, you decide, but I'm going to say around this much airline tube. And the less, you can always cut, but you can't always add. So you want to start off with more, but the key is the less amount of airflow possible from the pump to the lift tubes. You don't want it to pump more than it needs, right? So we're going to start off with a lot. I hope you got that, because you want to start off with more because you want to not recut, but you also want to adjust, because you're going to be able to adjust, right? So from here, I want you to connect this part to the air pump, and it has a little hole too. It's plugged in right now. So I'm just going to wiggle it a little bit. I'll just pull it out like this. And I'm going to take so it's going to sit like this. Okay. And I'll get a close-up for you. It's going to sit like this. And there's going to be tubing that comes from this to this. So we want about this much tubing. So about a foot. And this might sound like a lot of hassle, but it's just one-time setup, so this is how you do it. And all these little pieces and stuff, they don't come with the kits. They might not come with the kits, so that's why I'm doing this video for you, to show you exactly what it takes to set up an aquarium. Brand new. Okay, so about a foot on that side, goes there. Push that in there. Like that, all the way. So you got that coming from there. Good. And about another foot. And you want to make these equal length, or else the airflow won't be equal. So about right there. Goes to this side. Bam. Look at that, huh? You got the T, man. That's why it's called a T valve. How about that? Okay. We're going to connect these two ends, onto the lift tubes. So, don't sit on scissors. So, for this lift tube here, I'll put one end on there. So, you take this and you pry. Same thing, you pry on there. Pry on it. Maybe half an inch or so. That's good. So, we're going to do the same thing. Make sure it connects and wiggle. Wiggle it until it gets on there about half an inch or so. You saw me how to do the first one, but it ends up like this, a half an inch on there. The filter plates. Go like this. You can see that from the pump, the air pump, the air will flow up here through each tube, bringing up the water through the filter plates. And that's how an underground filter works. So I think we're ready to put this in. Remove the top. With the aquarium with no gravel in there, we're going to set these in like so. Okay, so you've got the under gravel filter right there. So obviously with the under gravel filter, you need to have gravel. So I'm going to dump the gravel in there, fill it with water, and then show you how to do it. Let's go. I'm just going to set the power filter here for a second, and it's a used power filter. It doesn't have to be new, but for this particular example, we're going to pretend it's new. But you can use the used one, that's fine. As a matter of fact, having a used one might be beneficial to a brand new tank because it still has the bacteria inside the cartridges, so it will help cycle the tank faster. So I'm going to go ahead and add the gravel to the equipment. Alright. Oh, shh! Almost broke the camera. Alright. Reposition. Alright, so after you put the gravel in, make sure that it's evenly distributed at the bottom. I added my decorations. I filled it up with water. I'm going to use my trusty ammo lock, dechlorinate the water. And you might see a fish. He was the lone survivor. Didn't think he was in there with my other water, but with my gravel and stuff. But sometimes, you know, hey, surprises happen, right? So I'm going to connect the end of the airline tubing to the pump. And lo and behold, you'll see that bubbles are coming up here. Bubbles coming up here, and it's a little bit cloudy because, you know, all the dirt and stuff. But after a while, it will clean out. Pretty neat, huh? But there's another step. Carbon cartridges. You want to replace these in a couple weeks, a month. Once you start seeing the grime build up on these cartridges, they fit in, they stick into the, I could have done this before, but I didn't think about it, so I'll do it right now. They stick into the ends of the lift tube. They stick into the ends of the lift tube. So the lift tube's here. You take this. You take this. Take this and you pop it right inside that lift tube. And I'm going to show you here. But first, you want to rinse them off because they got dust all over them. So you just run them through water for a couple of seconds, let the black dust come off them, and put them into your ear. You hear a cool sizzling, crackling sound like you put a steak on a grill. It's pretty neat. I guess I'm a dork. I just like that sound. But snap them on to each of these lift tubes here. So you'll hear a little snap. And once it's connected, you'll see the water flows through, the air flows through the carbon. So I might draw a little picture of how the water flows. The water flows through the gravel, underneath the filter plates, up through the lift tubes, and out through the carbon. So that's how the under gravel filter works. Down through the rocks, through the filter plates. So the bacteria builds up in the gravel and underneath the filter plates. That's where the bacteria is building. And of course, the secondary filter is the power filter. We're going to turn that on. So you turn the power filter on. Once that thing starts kicking, you'll have two filtration methods for aquarium, and I'll zoom in on that once it starts. Alright, so the heater I'm going to use is a 50-watt heater, and one thing I wanted to tell you guys is don't just stick the heater in the aquarium. You need to have the housing. The housing for the heater, what that does is if you set this and it touches the aquarium, it's not going to burn the aquarium. But if you just set this and it touches the aquarium, you know, it's not going to, it probably won't hurt it, but it could, you know, kind of heat the glass and make the glass more brittle and eventually crack the glass. So the safe thing to do is use the casing for the heater, and the casing has suction cups to where you can attach the heater onto the aquarium. So I'm going to do that. So now I'm going to cut the excess off the airline tubing from the tank to the air pump. Like I said, you want as little distance from the airline tubing. See how all this is, well, see how all this is excess? My pump's sitting there, then I got all this up here, and it's excess, so I can probably cut off a good, let's see, good couple feet, and I'll do that right now. Alright, so I got the excess tubing cut off. I've got the let's see, decorations back in there. I'll add more later once the tank gets cycled. I've got the underground filter going. You can see that you can see now, I think. Let me come over here, get a side view. I think you'll be able to see better. There you go. See how the air stone is pumping up air, and it's coming through the carbon filter. So the water that's following the air is coming through the carbon, so it's getting chemically filtered. And remember, the chemical filtration is stuff like chemicals like hairspray, smoke, any type of chemicals in the air, fog, smog, whatever, that kind of thing. The chemicals, right? It filters out chemicals, so your fish can't breathe that stuff. So the water's flowing through here, underneath the filter, underneath the filter plate, going up and out, and that is the way the water flows, and that's how the under gravel filter works. Okay, I've got my heater in, got my thermometer there, got the other side kicking, got the power filter going, and I think that's it for what goes inside the tank, pretty sure. I'm going to add the top. Move this over a little bit. Put the top on nicely. So there you have it. How to set up aquarium, how to set up a new aquarium. Talking about the fish to introduce, there are certain fish you need to introduce at first to cycle the aquarium, and we'll talk about that in a different video. We're going to let this thing sit for about an hour or so to let everything run through, and then I'll show you how clear it is. Alright. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is Tropical Fish Guy, and showing you how to set up a new aquarium. If you've got any questions, definitely put them in the box below. I'll be happy to answer them. Subscribe to the channel for more of these videos, and give me a like, thumbs up, and hit the little bell for future videos. So thanks for watching, and have a great day. Peace out.